I had an incredible discussion with Chris Cosmos, who's the founder and runs a company that staffs U.S. businesses with offshore and nearshore workers. He's been doing this for many, many years. I love this discussion because Chris pulls the curtain on exactly what that industry is all about, how it works behind the scenes. You're going to love it. Let's go jump in. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock, founder of Giant Jacks Media. Thanks for jumping on Giant TV. Really excited to have my guest here today, Chris Cosmos, who is the founder and CEO of Evolve Squads. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Paul. It's good to see you.
Yeah, and what we're not going to talk about is some of our college stories, because Chris and I went to college together, so we'll leave those for another time.
Fair enough.
But I want to jump in, Chris, because you're in an incredibly interesting business, which is work, outsourced workers overseas. And so tell me about kind of what you're doing.
Okay, sure. Essentially, the company I run is Evolve Squads, and we outsource software developers.
Okay.
Plain and simple. On a time and material basis, which means it's done hourly. There's a number of ways this can get done. It's extremely common throughout the world. Most folks that have an IT department with any size at all have an option to outsource their development, and now they can frankly do it all over the world, and they do. And there's primary regions in the world that are more popular with outsourcing. India has been doing it for years in terms of software development.
Yeah.
Latin America is becoming extremely popular, mainly because of the time zones. Eastern Europe has been very popular as well. So those three regions, which make up much of the world, we have opportunities to work with folks in those regions to help.
Chris, yeah, awesome. Let me ask you, so software development as a niche in an industry, is that continuing to explode? Are companies needing to continue to hire those people? Is it a big growth area?
It is. It's growing exponentially. Absolutely. Without the current recession we're in, it's been slow. This is the third real slow time that I've experienced. 9/11 was the first time, and that was obviously very dramatic. And then in 2008, with the financial banking crisis, we had a big long lull there as well. And now with COVID and what's happening with the recession, we're in another one. But they, again, typically come out of it. But yes, it's very popular even in an economic time that we're in right now. The issue is managers have options. They can hire a local person who comes to the office. Obviously, that's been changing lately.
Yep.
That's going to cost a lot of money if you're in Silicon Valley or in Austin or in New York. That's very expensive. You can outsource it to a contractor in America, and they come on either on a 1099 or a W-2. And they work for you. Typically, it's remote these days, or you have an option to outsource it nearshore or offshore into Latin America or Eastern Europe or India, for example.
Okay, so what's the expertise there? So because it sounds, I know that you've developed a process where you handle that, but what is the expertise in getting workers overseas, nearshore, offshore? What's involved in that, and what do you bring to the table to make that efficient, and how does it work?
The primary value proposition is the quality of the skill set and the cooperation of the developer, him or herself. That's really about that. So there's like most service businesses, there's a sales side and a delivery side.
Right.
And we like to emphasize our delivery side. That's very, very important in terms of recruiting the candidates, putting them in your database, staying close to them, screening them for soft skills, technical skills, their availability, their pay rates, all those sort of things come into play. Yeah, a hiring manager in San Jose, California can have an internal recruiting department that bring on people full time or bring on contractors. We're just another option for a lot of these hiring managers to go find people. Most people, a lot of times people think if you outsource it, it's a cost issue.
Right.
And that's definitely one factor. It's not the most common, frankly. The most common factor is the skill set of the candidate.
And you're vetting for the skill set, and
Absolutely.
you're able to find these engineers with incredible skills.
I would love to say that's 100% accurate, but we do our very best to find people with incredible skills. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So an analogy would be in Silicon Valley, a good developer could easily make $175 an hour.
Right.
Typically, when you outsource development work, it's done on a monthly basis when we're doing time and materials. And that same quality developer in India might make $5,000 a month. So obviously, it's substantially cheaper to outsource it. Now, of course, you have time zones and language and culture and those are things that come into play. But it just gives the hiring manager, the buyer, another option in terms of trying to satisfy his development needs.
So walk me through the process. Somebody engages you to says, okay, we have this need to fill. They engage you to then go find the people, or do you already have a stable of people? And then once they come on board and they hire some overseas workers, then are you managing those people for them? So how does that all work?
Good question. We do not carry a bench. There is pros and cons to carrying a bench. A bench is basically you have a rock star developer in Argentina, for example, and he finishes an assignment and you want to keep him employed and be able to reassign him. So you pay him to sit on your bench to basically wait for the next assignment. Most large companies that do what we do carry a bench. The mid-size and smaller companies typically do not, but it definitely varies. So we find these people, we put them in our database, we stay close to them. And when a job description comes through from one of our customers, we obviously look at our database to look for the people with the right skill set that matches their requirement. Okay. And then we're a broker. We're a broker between the end user manager typically in America, North America. We have some clients in Europe, but mostly in North America, and the developer who lives physically, typically in these regions I discussed earlier.
Got it. And then they obviously go through an interview process, we set them up for the interview. And if they get hired, then do you stay involved after they get hired?
We're very, very close to them. Yeah, we stay very, very close to the developers themselves and obviously the clients to make sure the project's going the way it's supposed to go and the developers doing the work they're supposed to do. We do not, when you asked earlier about managing them, we stay close to them, but typically they work under the umbrella of the manager, and because we augment their team essentially. So a manager might have 5 developers and a project manager in America, but they need to get more work done. More work's coming in. They've decided to outsource 3 more positions to us, which would be ideal. And then we go try to find the folks that they're looking for.
Got it. Okay. And then you've got a team at your company that is out there vetting people, getting to know these people, qualifying them and so forth.
Correct. Yeah. Our company is internally, we have 35 employees. The majority of them are either what we call researchers or fulfillment managers. And the fulfillment managers, we have one fulfillment officer who's very, very good at finding people. We have a number of people that speak Spanish. We have people in India. We have people in Eastern Europe as well, Ukraine and other parts of Europe. And we're very, bottom line is you could be a great salesperson, fantastic. Right. But in this business, if you don't deliver the candidate with the right pay rate and the right attitude and getting the work done, you'll be out of business. So we really emphasize the delivery side of our business.
Well, and I'm going to say that I can be one of your biggest advocates, because I'm just going to say it. You've helped me, source some employees for my own business, have been incredible, work with me for years, and they're absolutely amazing. And so I'm a testament to the process working. Which is amazing. And Chris, are you, what sort of companies in the US are you working with, and where are they? Just all over, all different sizes?
Yeah, you know, it would be that's the old adage. Do you niche from a sales perspective? Do you niche? And you could niche, let's say startups, and we're going to only work with startups. And there's pros and cons with all different types of companies to go after. Startups are great. They typically don't worry about HR, and they're worried about their project and their idea and getting some code done. They're worried about that, raising money, that sort of thing. So if we could come in at that point, that's a good spot to be, because they can rely on us to essentially be their outsourced recruiter, if you will, to find people, which is a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Enterprise is obviously fantastic because there's so much volume typically. The challenge with enterprise clients, the big clients with 5 to 10, 15,000 employees, you have procurement, you have internal HR policies that you have to work with. Typically it takes longer to get on their vendor list and get your MSA approved and whatnot. That's a long, when I say long, we're typically it's several months, if not years, that it takes. And then mid-sized clients are in the middle is probably our sweet spot, where they don't have a procurement department yet.
Right.
And the hiring manager has the ability to use a company like ours. They don't have to get approval from people above.
Multiple layers. Yeah. Yeah.
Multiple layers. That always slows things down. So it's a mix. We have enough sales folks to go after different parts. So it's, when you get a small company that's just a startup, you kind of go like this and like, here we go, this will be it. But there's risk, because if the startup goes south, then you're out of luck. You still need to pay your developer.
Yeah. So what happens if somebody gets interested in learning more about you and your business and your process? Do you get on a Zoom with them and kind of walk through what you do? Do you have an initial sort of consultation? Like, how do you work it when you're getting to know a company and their needs?
That's right. Right. We bifurcated our sales process many years ago. And so what we do, we have a number of folks around the world that are essentially cold calling. And they're cold calling on a very qualified list of companies that we would like to engage with and the hiring managers. And it's tough business, because everybody in the world is doing that. Everybody who's listening to this video is probably getting calls right now, cold calls trying to sell
from somebody, from
around the world.
Yeah.
So it's messy, and you really have to do a good job differentiating yourself, which is difficult to do.
Yeah.
From the cold call. Once they want to have a call and learn more about our situation, either I get on, my partner, who's the president of the company, he'll get on with our sales rep, and we'll have a discussion. Why are you talking to us? What's going on in your company? Try to qualify where their pain points are. And they typically have pain points. Hey, we're working with a firm right now and they're charging too much, or we're working with a firm and the quality of the developer is not strong enough. There's a lot of funny business that we try to hear and overcome and deal with. So get them on the call. Then we do a deep dive on their technical need, what they need. Typically it's a team of people and they need this, that, and the other. And frankly, I'm not a technical guy, so I step back and my partner comes in. He's on the call and he's very technical, and we drill down. Interview process, best way to communicate, start date, pay rate, bill rate, all those different things come into play during that call, ideally during that initial call.
Yeah, and I know you and I have talked offline a bit about your model, and what I thought was attractive is it's completely open door policy on how you bill and fees and all of that, because it can get a little bit kind of gray area in the industry, but you're just, you're open door.
It is, in my opinion, a very big factor. It's a touchy subject, because I have a lot of friends over the years that do what I do, and the word we use is transparent. So essentially, there's a bill rate, a pay rate. Okay, so the pay rate is what the developer will make. A good developer in Argentina, for example, let's say it's $6,000. We'll turn around and charge
a month.
A month. Yeah, this is done. It's interesting. In America, staff augmentation is typically hourly. And if you don't work, you don't get paid. Christmas Day, you're not going to get paid. Whatever, when you take time off, it's hourly, and it's billed hourly. With time and materials, outsourcing, nearshore, offshore, Latin America, or offshore, it's typically monthly. We don't do projects. Projects are deliverables where they pay you money to deliver some software. We stay away from that. We're more of the time and materials. It's monthly.
Yeah.
So the transparency part comes in. There's a pay rate and the bill rate, and the pay rate is 5. The bill rate would be 7,500, for example.
Right.
And everybody knows it up front.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So we want to give the client the opportunity to say, this guy and gal is making 5,000, and I'm going to interview someone else making 4,500. They're going to know our margin. Everything is transparent, and that's fairly unique to the industry. Most people do not share the pay rate. They'll say this guy is going to cost you 8,000.
Yeah.
We don't know if that person is making 2,000 and the margin 6, or if he's making, and so customers, most of our customers appreciate that. We're in business. We all need to make money. We all need to feel good about the opportunity, but we want to be ethical and fair and
love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Transparent as well.
No, great. Great stuff, Chris. And I want to tell everybody here that wherever you're watching this, because we stream these events everywhere, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching it, Chris's information is going to be around this video. Maybe it's up here or down here, and you'll be able to find him. If you want to learn more, get with Chris one-on-one. I know Chris would be happy to have a discussion with anybody, and I want to continue to have you back on, track some progress here. Chris, you and I will stay in touch, but I, want to thank you for coming on. Great stuff.
Paul, it was great. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. All right. Talk to you soon.
Take care.